Good morning, Facebookers. How are you? Haven't done a Facebook Live for a little while. So I just wanted to pop in and say hello and check in. Have a few funny things to tell you this morning. I've had a big couple of days. I just come back from being up the Sunshine Coast for one night, running a beautiful cacao circle for a retreat being run by Michelle Freeman Yoga, the Awaken retreat. It was absolutely amazing. She had 20 odd people there, including men, which was just so good to see. And Di and I took them through a really deep cacao connection with cacao, which we did some eye gazing with, and it was just so powerful. We loved it so much. So yeah, and just come back from that. I had to work yesterday. If anyone watches my stories, my Instagram stories, that you'll notice that I had a little bit of a meltdown last night, which culminated in me crying on my dad's shoulder. I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I've got this to look forward to. When your 44-year-old daughter's bawling on your shoulders, yeah, dad's always still going to be your dad, isn't he? And I'm still going to be the mum for those kids when they're 44 too. Hopefully I'm still around. I just think what happened was I was just doing a bit too much, and I was tired and emotional and just having one of those days. It happens to the best of us. And but I sorted my shit out. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in 2 seconds. But I'm just laughing because at the retreat, and Libby, if you're watching, make sure you comment because this is a funny story. So I was at the retreat and I was talking to a girl after we did the circle. Obviously, we were having lunch or something. She's sitting beside me and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. I said, pardon? And I was looking around thinking, if she got the right person. And she goes, oh my God, I just love you. I follow all your stuff. And when I found out you were coming, I was like really nervous. And I was just so excited to meet you. And I was like, me? She goes, yeah, oh my God. I listened to your podcast and I was walking up the mountain and I felt so connected with you. And I'm like, I want to be your friend. And oh my gosh, I laughed. She was so sweet. And I just thought, really? That is so funny. I'm like, I must have made it. I've got a fangirl. So it was really beautiful, and I got to chat with her for ages. And I went through, it's funny how it goes through in your head, but in my head I was like, I had this discussion with Diane. She doesn't feel the same way. But in my head I was like, I'm going to disappoint this poor lady one way or the other. She's either pedestaled me, and this is not me, but this is what can happen with someone that you look up to, is that when you finally get to meet them, you put them on such a big pedestal that they really disappoint you. They're either rude and so up themselves that they don't speak to you, and they're so not what you thought they were. It's happened to me a few times when you meet someone that you think is famous. I say think because obviously I'm not famous, but and you're really disappointed. Or my other concern, probably more for me, was she meets me and goes, oh, is that it? Okay, well, oh, that's Michelle, right, okay. Why was I so excited to meet her? I was really embarrassed. So I felt like I'm going to disappoint her no matter which way you look at it. But I suppose someone resonates with you for a reason, and I am what I am on my Instagram. I am what I am on my podcast. There's nothing different. So if she liked the person she listened to on the podcast, then I'm guessing she likes me in person. And but we get along quite well, so that was nice. So I love it. So Libby, if you're watching, you'll always be my first fangirl. I have had it before where I've been out and someone's come up to me and went, oh my God, I've watched all your stuff and I follow all your stuff. I feel like I know you, and that's really cool. So it's great to know that my message is actually getting out there to the world and to people that I don't know or I haven't met yet, which is awesome. The podcast has really helped with that. A lot of people come up to me and say they just love it and they've shared it with their friends, and so obviously it's getting out there. I just interviewed on Friday Vicky Hesse. It was an amazing interview. Vicky lost her mum to suicide when she was 12. And Vicky's an amazing woman. I just love hearing people's stories and what they've come from and how they got to where they are now. It just astounds me every time I speak to someone, the story that they've got. They've all been through, we've all got a story. We weren't just born 44 crying on our dad's shoulder, We've got a story behind us. Some Mine I don't think's that interesting. Well, probably is to some people. Well, it is. I just did a podcast on it, you idiot, Michelle. Sorry, be nice to yourself. Of course your story's interesting. Why did I even say that? So funny how you compare yourselves to people, isn't it? Isn't that bizarre? You just saw it right there live. How your ego works and how I just went straight into comparison, that because I didn't have a traumatic childhood and I haven't had to deal with death and disease and abuse and all that my story's boring. Straight in, that's what my ego just did to me. Oh my God, Michelle, your story's boring because you haven't been through trauma. Are you effing joking? Seriously. Missy's my ego's name, telling her, go away please. That was the dumbest thing you've ever said, Missy. Take a back seat. My story's amazing. So amazing, I did a podcast series on it. So you can back off and go elsewhere and go for your walk today. So that's how your ego works right there. Stories, where did I get sidetracked, didn't I? Everyone's got a story, so yeah, amazing. What else did I have to tell you about? What did I say on my title? Someone remind me. Fangirls, fake Instagram, oh my God. So I got back from the Sunshine Coast and I'm cooking dinner in the middle, got chicken up to my elbows, chopping my chicken for my soup. And I got this message from my website designer, what the hell's going on? This is not your Instagram. I'm like, what? I'm so confused. So someone has gone in, duplicated my website, my Instagram, like a fake profile. So went to all the trouble of screenshotting my whole grid so it looks like my grid. Like obviously the videos aren't going to play, but it looks, if you glanced at it, it looks exactly like my Instagram profile. Obviously copied all the same stuff, my photos, called it Michelle Ann Soul. Mine's Michelle Ann Soul Healer. Then went and followed every single person I follow. People obviously see my name, see my stuff, see my branding, go, oh yeah, I know her. Accept the friendship, or whatever you call it on Instagram. I'm so old. I'm a Facebooker. Whatever you call it. The follow on Instagram. And then they're messaging people, literally saying, oh, do you want a card reading? And you know what the funny thing is out of all this? Lots of people said yes, they do want card readings. And they were gonna pay this man $60. Oh, woman, might have been a woman. And it's not until they went on and asked for the money through Cash App or something that they went, oh, that's a bit weird. I don't think anyone actually paid them. And I'm 99% sure the profile's finally been taken down. But what came of all this, what I laughed about was, I've got now some work out of it. There's people that are messaging me going, I was going to pay $60 to a stranger to get you to read me cards. So can you give me a card reading? I was like, oh, this is so funny. So it's backfired on old scammer man or woman. And the profile's been taken down. But if you do have random requests from me asking if you want readings and do you want them via text, it's not me. But I'm like, well, you know what? I've had my first fangirl and I have got my first copier. So I've officially made it. Now I just need some good haters. Anyone want to be a hater on me? Come, I'm ready. Bring it on. Because that's what happens when you make it. You get haters coming out of the woodwork. They like to bring you down. And you know what I say to those haters? Unless you are in the arena with me, it's a Brene Brown thing. There's lots of people like to sit in the grandstand and on the sidelines giving you advice. They're not on the playing field. They're not in there. They got no friggin' clue. So if you're in the arena with me and you're getting kicked, hitting the head with balls, ducking and weaving and getting tackled to the ground, I'll listen to you. I'll talk to you and you can give me some advice. If you're on the sidelines abusing the umpire and telling me I'm doing a bad job, you can fuck off. This is my Instagram, so I'm going to say it again. Fuck off. And I'll tell you what, when you start to rise up, the haters come. And the first couple, you're just like, ooh, like, oh my God, I feel sick about it. And then you realize, yeah, okay, I'm making a difference. You got complete strangers telling you whatever they want to tell you. And that's a very different feeling. You're like, great. I remember when Diane got her first hater, it was hilarious. Not for her, obviously, she was really upset. They went to town on her and I said, Diane, this means you're famous. This means people give a shit enough they're so threatened by you that they've got to come and tear you down because they can't stand someone doing good for themselves. God forbid. I mean, for every hater, there's a million lovers. So, yeah, haven't had a true hater yet. Oh, I have actually. Take that back. I have had a true hater. Very much a true hater. But I think there was other stuff going on there. I don't think it was anything really to do with me. I think that poor person had their own issues going on, but that's okay. I have been through it and I'm ready for the next one. Mentally, I'm ready. Bring it on! So I can't see any comments. Apologies if... oh, hello, Nicole. Yes. Good morning, Baxter. Anyone else that's on there, please feel free to say hello. Yeah, so I had to talk about fangirls, meltdowns, Instagram hackers. Oh, the meltdown, yeah, the end result of the meltdown. If you watched my story this morning was I was overtired. I was very emotional and I just had to take a step back and look after myself a little bit better. Beck, you were correct. I had to go to bed. I had to get out of bed later. I was woken in a really deep, my alarm went off and I was in a really deep sleep yesterday morning. Clearly I wasn't ready to wake up and my alarm went off for me to exercise, and me being me was like, I committed to myself, I'm going to drag my ass out of bed. And I literally dragged it out of bed. And it was a terrible workout, but I did it. And I was really proud, and I still am. But then obviously my body was tired and it was run down and it was emotional. And when I get tired, I get emotional, and I was emotional. And then one thing led to another, and ended up with me crying on my daddy's shoulder. Dad's great. I just saw his car come up the street. And we don't randomly just catch up very often. I do see him regularly, but it's with, family dinners and stuff. And we were doing something. And yesterday I drove in. I didn't realise how upset I was. When your brain's going. So I was driving back from the train station and I missed my train stop. That was probably what set me off. I had my head in my phone replying to the millions of people, because when I go to work, I can't reply to people. So I spend the 30 minutes of my train travel in my head in the phone, emails and Facebook messages and Instagram and dealing with hackers and you know what. So I had my head, and I clearly just missed the train stop. I fully missed it. Morning. And so I ended up at Springfield. It took me a few minutes to get back. It wasn't a big drama, but I don't know, my head was going crazy. And then I saw my dad pulling out of my street as I was pulling in. I was like, what's Dad doing? Anyway, I turned around and I realised when I saw my dad how emotional and vulnerable I felt, because as soon as I saw him, I literally just burst into tears. I was like, oh my God, this is my dad. And your dad, or you have, and your mum, but someone that you turn to that you know is always there for you and it's got your back unconditionally and doesn't want anything from you, doesn't need anything from you, they just got your back. Well, my dad's always been really reliable. He never asked for anything from me and always there for me. And I saw the car and I saw Dad and I just started crying. And then made it worse was like, oh my God, then it straight into my head was like, I am so grateful that my dad is still here. I'm 44. A lot of people have lost their parents, and I'm very aware of that. And I've still got my dad and my mum, and they're both healthy. They're both fit. And I just think, oh my God, I'm so lucky. So here I was driving, and then of course thinking that, oh my God, my dad's not going to be here forever. And that was the end of me. I was like, ah! And he walked in and he was on the phone to someone. He took one look at me and he goes, he calls me Yarl. He goes, Yarl's here, just been at work. And he says to his mate, hey, she don't look like she's had a real good day. I must have looked like absolute shit. And I walked in and just overwhelmed with life, I suppose. And he was really good, just gave me a big hug and we chatted for ages. And then he gave me $100. I said, Dad, what are you doing, trying to pay me to stop crying? And he's like, no. He's so matter of fact, that's your coffee money. And so when I see him every now and again, he just slips me 50s and 100. Mum does the same thing. I hope they're not watching because I don't tell them that each other does it for me. Mum, if you're watching, Dad doesn't give me coffee money either, just you. I think they know secretly. I think they both love it. And it's not all the time. I don't ever expect it. But Mum will quite often give me a 50 or 100. And Dad does the same thing. And they always say, it's coffee money. So it's like their way of looking after us and saying we've got your back. And I was talking to Kelly last night about it and how much we take our parents for granted for the security and the safety net that it gives us. We don't realise it, but I mean, if I got in the shit tomorrow, my mum and dad are there for me, like 100% unconditionally there for me. They're not millionaires, well they could be, but you wouldn't bloody well know it because they're not in your face. But they're very secure and stable financially. They've got money because they've looked after themselves. They've looked after themselves financially. They've saved and they've worked really hard, and they've got a really nice nest egg. And I know for a fact that if I ever get in strife, that my mum and dad are there financially for me. I know that if I get something breaks and I don't have the savings, which I do at the moment, but if I get stuck, I can go to my mum and dad and say, hey, I need some money. And that is huge. I was talking to Kelly, who's lost both their parents, and she says, I don't have that. I don't have that backstop. I don't have that security of knowing that my parents are always there for me. So it's something we take for granted, but I do take it for granted, but I clearly am very aware of it, because that's why I was so teary on my dad last night. So, and just knowing that they're not always going to be here. And at some stage, you know, I'm going to have to fend for myself. Who am I going to cry on? Whose shoulder am I going to cry on then? Hey? Hopefully one of my friends. Baxter, will you come let me cry on your shoulder, please? Yeah, I'm going to go now. Oops. Because I've been rabbiting on for far too long. But thank you for listening. I like to share a little bit of my life so you get to know a little bit of what goes on in my life behind all the positivity and shit that other shit does go down, and just how I sort of cope with life. And I hope it helps you. If there's anything else you want me to talk about, please reach out, tell me. Make sure you go and listen to my podcast. If you want the link, just comment below and I can send you the podcast link. Don't stress out if you don't know what a bloody podcast is. It's just something to listen to. You press the link and you press play. That's it. Don't worry about it. Don't get all tech about it. Don't do what I used to do and I don't even know what a podcast is. Ooh. Just get the link, press the button, put your little earphones in and start listening. And lastly, oh yeah, Friday night's my cacao circle. It's going to be a big one. I think we've already got 20 people registered. It's at my house here at Forest Lake. Men and women. I'm calling in the men. Men, if you're listening, we need some more men. I met a few men on the weekend. We need more men in this stuff. So Friday night at my place at 7:30, Forest Lake, or if you're not around local, we're running it via Zoom. People can zoom in and listen. And all the cacao circle is basically people sitting around in a circle, drinking hot chocolate and just talking about the real stuff in life. Just being real. That's all it is. There's nothing to it. There's nothing crazy hippie about it. It's just sitting around and actually being able to chat and be heard and not judged. So it's really powerful work. I run one the first Friday of each month, but if you want to know the details, just jump on our website, those2sisters.com, and go to the events section, and it's all that you can register there. It's free. I'm taking a little donation tin this time because people like to give back, but it's technically free. So come along. Friday the 5th of March is my sister's birthday. She'll be there, so we're going to celebrate her birthday as well. And yeah, it's going to be a good night. Thank you everyone that's still hanging in there listening. Gosh, you haven't dropped off yet. I'm impressed. Give me your comments, especially if you watch this later. Hashtag replay on your thoughts on what I said. I love to get the feedback. It's going to cut out. This is internet bad through this way. I love to get your feedback about stuff I talk about. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good day.